forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him. But ye know him, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. 17th verse. The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither know him. But ye know him, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. The Spirit of truth, 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 the Spirit of truth. And when I was listening to El, I mean, it was good when God began to use him to share some things. There's a difference in, you know, you can tell something, like say, if you share something and it's not the truth, it is a lie. Okay, so now it's one thing to lie, and it's another thing to be a liar. It's one thing to lie, it's another thing to be a liar. You see what I'm saying? See, that was a lie. You were lying. Two total different aspects. So God's trying to help us. See, as we was talking about spiritual character. See, because sometimes you might tell a lie, but the dilemma with telling a lie is, I tell a lie, and I tell a lie, and I tell a lie, and I tell a lie, till now I have become. See, now, and so what happens is, I'm trying to allow the Spirit of truth to have his way in my life, but now I've got to this place to where I'm so used to allowing the lies to have its way that everything that I do is a lie. Not everything. Now notice I didn't say what you say. What you do is a lie. My worship is a lie. My helps are a lie. My life is just a lie. And so God is trying to help us in these last days that we have in 2010 to not be liars. I love you. That's a lie. I love God. That's a lie. Now you got to understand something. There are certain things that we do with and for the ones that we say we. So there's a certain thing that I'm going to do and not going to do because I. Now, I may say I love, but the truth is going to be manifested. What I really love, what I really care about, where my heart really is going to be manifested. And so what happens is, who said that? You know who said that? That's who said it. I think it was Shakespeare. He said it like this. No, for real. He said, to thine
own self be true.
That's what he said. That's what he said. So, it's okay for me to lie to you, because I lie to me.
Jesus. Wow. Jesus.
No, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. No, I really do want it. I just don't want you to know I want it. No, I don't want to do that. I don't, no. Well, I really want to do it, but I just, you know. God help us.
Yes.
See, I've got to begin I gotta stop lying. Because I ain't getting nowhere. Quick. Check this out. Where's Graham at? I asked Graham a question because Graham, I wish he was lame. Graham, he was like, you always on me. You always on me, just, man, you act like you don't see no change, I'm changing, man, I'm changing. Why, I don't even understand why you treat me like that. Don't you notice my grades and this, that, and the other thing? I said, okay, Graham, let's talk about this change. Graham, let's talk about this change. I said, so check this out, Graham. I come to you today, and I cock my hand back. Gah! And then I tell you I'm sorry. Then the next day comes. Gah! I'm sorry. The third day comes. Gah! I'm sorry. Now, I don't know how many times I can keep slapping you before you start realizing that. But I said I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said, Dah! How many times? I'm changed. I'm changed. I'm not how I used to be. I'm not how I used to be. God, I'm sorry. So that makes it okay? Because sometimes that's what we think. But I said I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry. God. See, as sure as I'm standing here before you, I'm trying to tell you, when you truly repent, there are some things you just don't do. Now, how can I tell you that? I can tell you that as an adulterer. When you repent, you don't keep committing adultery.
Amen.
I tell you that. How can I tell you that? I can tell you that as one who would most definitely struggle. I struggled with forgiveness. Struggle with forgiveness. But y'all see me got none and still love. Back in the day, hey, the apostle said he loved, but he's distanced himself since this last incident, and I could tell that he's not really open the way he used to be open before this last incident. Something's wrong. Something's not right. He's not forgiven. Apostle understand that the scriptures say, if you don't forgive, you won't be forgiven. I can get into heaven carrying my sins or nobody else's.
Because sometimes I get mine under the blood, and I'm now carrying what folk has done to me. Said, access denied. No, I think I need to get in because, they did it to me. I didn't do that to them, they did it to me, so I shouldn't be able to get in. Access denied. They did you wrong when you're trying to carry that dirt into heaven. Access denied. See, and so I got to stop lying to myself. That's not okay. That's not okay. And see, and so God begins to reveal His truth to me so that I won't be, check this out, so I won't be deceived. Because sometimes, I'm okay. I'm getting in. No, you're not okay. And you're not getting in. You're not okay, you're not getting in. Now who decides? Do I decide that? I don't decide that. Scripture say for the wages of sin, but the gift of God. Okay, so I can't apply the blood of Jesus to things I don't repent for real. Did I repent because I was a godly son? Or did I repent because someone gave me a word and I got caught? They gave me a word. They can see my shortcomings. They can see my stains in my underwear. So I'm repenting not because I'm really looking to get forgiveness from God. I'm repenting because you see me. Liar. So the truth of the matter is I want to love God, but I don't believe what His Word says enough in order to keep loving Him. Now change. Now change. I'm trying to tell you. Now change. Check this out. What's going to happen? Okay, check this out. We're going to go in the rapture. Well, some of us going to go in the rapture. Jesus go, pow! Jesus go, pow! Hey, man! Pow! You couldn't go because you had some stuff that you wouldn't take off. You had some stuff you wouldn't take off. You wanted to keep it all on. Be like how Carla was when she was walking through the house. She thought everybody was gone. Mom, Dad! Girl, what's the matter with you? Oh, the stove was on. I didn't hear nobody in the house. I thought the rapture had taken place. Girl, if you live right, you'd be okay. You ain't got to worry about that. Because you'd be gone too. Come on now. But there was a pot on the stove, water was boiling. The house was quiet. And she woke up.
What was that movie?
Thief in the Night?
Thief in the Night.
Yeah. See, and so, and I'm saying this because, see, there are things that God has in store for us. But we cannot have those things or walk into those things until we start walking on a firm foundation. See, as I said, not the foundation of flesh. It's tough. Can I see my lie? Not can I see your lie. Can I see my lie? Can I see the lie that I'm living now? I'm okay. Everything's great. Can I see the lie? I'll be all right. Can I see the lie? I love God with everything. I've been done. Whenever God said, I'm just giving to God because I
just love God so much. I'll do anything for God, and it doesn't matter what nobody say, what nobody think. Okay, I want you to do this. I ain't doing that. But you just got finished praying. You just said, I ain't doing that. I was just praying. Or you mean you were just lying? God, whatever you want to be done, just not in me. That's what I needed. God, have your way in them. I'm trying to tell you. See, I gotta get ready because there's a game that I'm in, and my opponent is not playing. Check this. He ain't playing. Now I may come to the table playing, but he ain't playing. He ain't playing with me. He ain't playing with you. So he is most definitely going to win when it concerns me, when I begin to gravitate toward this thing called lying. Be it from my mouth or from my actions. So now he has access. Now I'm not going to tell a whole truth, I'm going to tell a half truth. Told a lie. But I didn't tell, I just said what you told a lie. You told a lie, you live in a lie. Now we got to share these things because you know what? Either you're going to be a pillar, here, oh.
What I'm about to say is not intended to hurt anyone. When we went to Tennessee, your family just embraced me. And they embraced me like I have been there forever. You know, his mom want me to call her mama, aunties want me to call them aunties. And I sat back. And I said, God, I remember when he came to my family. My family did embrace him. And then I sat and I watched mom and daughter go and they call each other every day. And they talk about whatever. And I thought back, that's what I used to have. And I'm saying this because I'm living a life. Because I see myself separate from my family. Not because of them, but because I know what we used to have. And so much has happened this year to where my family's not the way it used to be. Thanksgiving, we take turns going to each other's house. This year we didn't think about each other. We didn't sit down and we didn't plan what we were going to do together. And when I went to Tennessee, I literally thought, I just want to go here. Even though I know Chattanooga is another one place, but I just wanted to be with them. I've been pushing myself to call my family. And I call and see how my sister doing, you know. But the conversations aren't the same for both of us. I've gotten to a place where I tell God I'm tired. I'm tired of when I see the separation. But put myself out there to try to fix it, and I know I can't fix it. And I'm tired of not just within my sister, whatever, my mom. I'm tired of it in my house. And I try to smile. And I try to act like it's okay. I love so much, and I give so much love, and I get tired. I get so tired of putting myself out there, but I don't want to pull back. I don't want to go somewhere else and get some love because they embraced me. My family used to be so close. And I act like we still are, but we are not. And I get mad because we all sit up here and we say one thing and we're doing something completely opposite. But yet I can go love on someone else who's not a part of my family, and it's okay. This is my life. No one else. I'm not saying it to hurt nobody else. But this is what I see. This is what I know. This is what God has shown me. And God keeps telling me He's going to restore it. And I act like it's there, and it's not. But I'm to this place where I'm tired of me. And I'm tired of what I'm seeing and allowing it to affect and act like I'm okay. I am not okay. I don't want my daughter to be around you because of separation. So I sit here till I wonder. Because it separates us. And it shouldn't separate us. But I'm tired. I can't do this no more. I can't do it. I know I can't do it, oh God, because I want to run when I try to do it, oh God. But I can't do it no more. I'm tired of anger. I'm tired of bitterness within my house. I'm tired of frustration within the family. I'm tired of jealousy and competition. I'm tired. Our kids don't even play together. Because it's separate. They know it's separate. And I'm tired of having to act towards them like everything is okay when they are telling me it's not okay. When they are coming to me, Mommy, why don't Auntie Nick talk to you? Why don't Granny do this? And I act, no, baby, it's okay. It's not okay. Because they know. But on this day, I will no longer sit back and allow the separation to come from me. From no one else in my house. I will no longer sit back and watch something or even hear stuff that's not supposed to be and let it happen. I won't. I no longer will sit back and know that you won't talk to me and say it's okay and I won't talk to you. I won't. Because we're going nowhere. We're stagnant. I can sit up here and preach God. I sit up here and say, God, I love you. But God, I will love that person because they keep doing me. This is where I am. God's been telling me it's my time. God's been showing me He's going to use me mighty. But I didn't want to because I didn't want to go past what I was seeing. I'm tired. And I'm done. And I fight for what God has shown me. But I'm not going to fight Peter's way no more. I'm going to fight the way God wants me to fight.
How does God want you to fight?
God wants me to still love you. God wants me to still be there for you. God wants me to give you an encouraging word even when you don't want to hear it. God wants me to just wrap my arms around you when you push me away. God wants me to support you every night. If you tell me to get up and pray, I have to pray. God wants me to sit there and to speak the opposite of what I see and stop saying what I see.
What was that last thing you said?
Stop saying what I see and say what God said. Say what He let me see. Because He shows all of us and we stick to what our eyes see. And we don't see past what He says. What is actually going on. But that's where I am. If you don't accept somebody in my family, oh well, that's between you and God. If you don't like what I do, that's between you and God. If you don't like what I say, that's between you and God.
Time stop lying. See, sometimes we don't realize, sometimes we know, but we don't want to talk about what we know. We know, but we won't talk about it here. When difficulties come, as they will, I don't care who you are, difficulties come as they will. One of the things that most definitely has to take place is you got to keep your focus on. You got to keep your focus on what? You got to keep your focus on what?
God.
Sound like y'all not sure.
God.
See, if you don't keep your focus on God, then it's difficult to say the opposite of what you see. It's difficult to say the opposite of what you see. That's why it's usually a whole lot more easier for a stranger to give you a word than somebody who knows you to give you a word. Because they have to fight past what they, on a regular basis. On a regular. Now, when I was listening to Keita, all I was thinking about, you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about them. That's what I was thinking about. Because it didn't matter what was said or what was done, you know, there was always something with them. Y'all don't love me, y'all don't care about me. You know, people on the street treat me better than y'all treat me. You know, it was always something. It was just, no matter what we did, it just wasn't right. It just wasn't right. So now how do you be in a relationship with somebody when you're always wrong? And they're blaming you for everything that went wrong in their life. How do you be in a relationship? I mean, how do I be in a relationship with my oldest child who blames me for everything? How? How do I even talk to him? How do I talk to him? How do we live in the same house? She don't not graduate because she's smart. She just don't graduate. So all of a sudden, on time. So I have to go ahead and drive her to school
in Vine Street now, I gotta drive her to school every day. And while I'm driving to school, she don't say nothing to me, going or coming. Every day. Only time she talked to me is if she needed something. Why am I driving her to school? Ain't talking to me. What's that? What? What? Am I supposed to kiss her behind or something? What? Man, what's? Oh snap! She got me bent. Got me what? What in the world? What? Oh snap! God, that ain't right. God, it ain't right. God, it ain't right. God. Oh, that's that love. Oh, God, this ain't. Oh, God, this ain't feeling good. This ain't feeling good. This ain't feeling good. Because God, she always said, I don't love her any your way. So why I got to go ahead? Why I got to show love? Why I got to go ahead and help? God, this ain't right. God, she talking to folk in the street about me. Just coming back to me because she don't know, she don't realize at this time that Radcliffe is, just a drop in the bucket. By the time she get home, I done heard what she said. I'm supposed to still love her. She hurt me. We trying to grow a church. She dogging me. I wouldn't want to go to church. Got kids up there talking about the pastors. I wouldn't want to go to that church. His daughter might know what he's talking about. She might be with him. Now love. Now love. And then all of a sudden, you just continue to do what the things that God would have you do. And then all of a sudden, you know what happens? Something strange happens. They show up. They show up after wandering. After their wanderings, they show up. And then all of a sudden, and what's so good about that is, can I tell you something about that? Your heart has already been prepared. Your heart has already been prepared. Okay? I love you. You never stop me. You said some things, you did some things that hurt me. But I love you. See, and that's the difficulty with being in real relationship. When you're in real relationship, because we're like real people. We're not like dogs. You know what I'm saying? When you're real people and you're in real relationships, you have real hurts. So what happens is, those hurts are supposed to help us to build or develop a greater relationship. Not to cause us to separate or divide, which normally that's the case. I'm mad at you, so I'm not talking to you for this week, the next 2 weeks, the next 3 weeks, the next month, the next year. I'm not talking to you. I understand that we're neighbors and that we're family and we can throw balls right across the street, but we're not talking to one another. No, I'm not talking to you because I'm mad at you. But we're family. So now how to deal with it? How do you deal with it? See, I'm trying to tell you. She right there. She right there. She right there. She can tell you. She right there. She can tell you some stories. What was said, what was done. Now love. Now forgive. See, the question ultimately is, do you love God? Army says, the bottom line up front, that's the blood. What's the blood? The bottom line up front is, I love God. And because I love God, I love my daughter. Baggage and all. See, because sometimes, the lie is, I ain't got the baggage. No, you lying. You lying, you got baggage. Everybody has baggage. The dilemma is, I want to act like I don't have no baggage. And then when someone starts going through my baggage, dude, you got some stuff. You got some stuff. Oh, man, no. What's that, man? Oh, man, you got to clean that up, man. You got to, what? Why you all on me, man? This my baggage, man. It's my stuff, man. And you better get away from me. You better leave me alone. Oh, man, you need to clean that up, man. That's garbage, man. Why don't you throw that away? No, that's my garbage. That's my garbage. I want to keep my garbage. Because my garbage makes me feel safe.
Somehow we have the perception that we can love without hurt. There is no way to love without hurt. And I don't know why when we're in Christ we think that we can love without being hurt. That is all part of the love. That is part of the process. If you're going to really love and be in love and love for real, you're going to be hurt. How many times has God looked down and you hurt him by your disobedience? So why do you think the people that you love, the people that you are in a relationship with, the people you live with, the people you are friends with, aren't going to hurt you? And how do you expect to avoid hurt? Because you know somebody don't even know. Just because you got on your seatbelt don't mean you ain't going to get hurt.
You would know that.
Yeah, I've been in enough cars still I had my seatbelt, I got hurt. So you have to stop. We use too many walls. If I live my life the way my flesh would have me live my life, I wouldn't be in a relationship with nobody in this church. Because my flesh would say y'all are disrespectful, ungrateful, don't care about nobody but yourself. You want everything, but you don't want to do nothing. You only do what you're coerced to do. But that's not God. It's not God. So do I believe what my flesh says, or do I believe what God says? That you are a people that are going to excel and have destiny. You are a people who love. You are a people who care. See, even if I don't see it, I know what God said. We are so busy trying to analyze what we don't even have the intellect to analyze. Because we didn't create us. And then not only are we trying to analyze other people, but then we're not analyzing our own selves. You have to see the God in people. It's there. Now it may be minute in some folk and bigger than others, but it is there. When Bill was doing all that stuff, all we could do was do what God said, and that was to love. See, we want to be parents. But what is a parent for real? Because see, a parent, our perception of a parent, you do what I say. And when you don't do what I say, you wrong. Well, maybe sometimes what you're saying ain't right. But the only person know that is the person who created you. We demand the respect that we're not always willing to give. We want our children to respect us as authority figures, but we don't always respect our authority figures. We make a demand and place a demand on our children, do this, do that, do this, do that. But we don't always do this, do that, do this, do that. If God treated us like we treat our children, most of us ain't getting in heaven. And that's the example that God gave me. We want some things from people. We want them to do some things. But what if they don't do it? Are you still gonna love them? What if they never act the way you want them to act? Are you still gonna love them? I can say something about my 5 children. We have known what God has called them to do. They may not walk in it totally, but because they are children, we know what God said. So that's what we have to believe. And we treat them as what God said. And those children love each other. They argue and fuss and fight like every other kids. But they're 28, 26, 24, 22, and 21. They still embrace each other. These kids still play hide and go seek. Now they run from it. He said, I'm just putting y'all on blast. But that's the child and the love in them, placed in them by God. That their parents love them even when they see their failures. Never speak to a child's failure. Because that failure is the next success in their life. But you got to see it that way. They don't always do what we want. They don't always act what we want. Our families are not always what we want them to be. But God is shaping and molding us because He is trying to teach us how to be the created us, how to love the way He has loved us. Because He saw all our mess, He still loved us. He still gave His only Son. But we can't see other folk mess and do what God do. And our excuse is, I ain't God. You sure ain't because you don't want me. You're not because you don't want to be. God created you. He said, let us make man in our own image, after our own likeness.
That's what he said.
So He did do that. It's us that's not like God, because we choose not to be. And He is using our children, our relationships with our families, our church families. He using all that stuff. See, because we want to set other folk jacked up. And we'll claim our jacked upness as long as as long as they go ahead and claim theirs. But at the end of the day, if whatever I think or do is jacked up, it's on me. And it's not determined by what you do or don't do. It's determined by my love for God. God, I love you enough. I don't care what other folk do. I'm still going to love you. And I'm still going to treat them right. And I'm still going to show them respect. And I'm still going to love them. Because if I'm waiting for people to reciprocate everything that I ever do, I am a fool in waiting.
Amen.
But that should not stop me from being the created me that God created me to be. Because you can't live without hurt. You can't live without disappointment in or out of Christ. Because that happens in or out of Christ. How many of y'all want to say when y'all first call yourself fall in love? Okay, you got hurt, but you're still trying to fall in love with folks. See, you don't stop trying to fall in love. You just don't want to love nobody in church. Is that crazy? That is so crazy. And God's showing us, come on, y'all. Come on, it's all about my love. The love I give to you for you to give to others. And when you understand hurt is part of that process, it's just part of that process. It don't linger long if you don't let it.
When you asked the question about, well, no, the statement was made about that love hurts. And initially, when I got here, I was so battered and bruised that I couldn't take no more. And literally was fighting for nobody ever again to touch me in that manner. And I remember having a conversation with Apostle, and he asking me about, asking me, how do we go? Why do you think love is supposed to hurt? And sometimes we get to the point where we're beaten down so much that we don't really want to be touched by anybody else. But in essence, I never had anybody explain to me that love is supposed to hurt, because I had this fairy tale image of what love was and how love is supposed to be good to you and how love is supposed to treat you. So because of that image, I didn't expect to be mistreated or hurt the way I was by the one that was the closest to me. And the thing was that, to be honest, love does really hurt. But it's different when you look at it from the perspective that God is using whatever it is to cause me to grow. God wants that area of my life to grow. It is God's love in us that God is perfecting. And we set up walls and we set up mazes to keep people out, but that is not the intended goal for God. God is coming in to knock down the walls, open all the doors, swing open the drapes, and let some fresh air in. And so we've got to stop fighting the thing that has come to help us. And for a long time, I did not think that was help. This can't be the kind of assistance that I need, Jesus. But it really is help. It stretches me. It causes me to grow, take focus off of me and look at somebody else, assist somebody else in the midst of my own pain? Can you help somebody else? Can you love somebody when all hell is breaking loose at your house? Not can you, will you? And you will be amazed at how you grow. You will be amazed at what comes out of you because it's in you. In the scriptures, when we look at love in the Amplified Version, it says God's love in us. I have to remind myself, it's in there. It's in there, and it's just waiting for the opportunity to be a blessing to somebody else. It's in there. And I mean, and the more I begin to give of myself, because in this season I'm learning, I have not always wanted to give of myself, and I still been asking God, how am I squeeze all this stuff in you asking me for? But as I begin to give myself away, I'm amazed at what God will do for me. Yesterday was an awesome opportunity for me to be a blessing to you, and I enjoyed myself yesterday. I enjoyed myself yesterday. It wasn't even so much like work, really. Because the time before I had grumbled about that whole situation that I had to be in the kitchen. But it was an honor to serve you on yesterday. And I want you to know, I love you all. And the place that God is taking us to, it is not easy, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it. And it's a giving of myself and not being consumed with me so much. So, but I thank the Lord. It has taken me a minute to get it, y'all. I wanted us to have to travel the long round, but I thank the Lord that I've gotten it. And I continue to grow in it. Not that I perfected it, but I continue to grow in it.
I think this is good because before a few weeks ago, I would have allowed everything to put me back in my cave. But God has me in a place now to where I can no longer allow what people say or think about me to affect me. Because I know you saw it, Apostle. I know you saw when I was sitting over here and I was just like, okay, God, here I go again. But God said, no, Nicole, you promised me that you won't go back there. So I have to keep my promise to God that I will not allow people or my situation to put me back. Because this is a new year and I refuse to take the lies that the enemy has told me into the new year. I refuse to allow things to stop me from moving into what it is God has called me to be. I refuse to allow man to stop me. And I refuse to allow the lies of the enemy to stop me from moving into who it is that God has called me to be. Because there's relationships that I have to establish. But if I go back in my cave, I'll never get those relationships. I've enjoyed myself the past couple of months. I might not like bowling, but I did. And I enjoyed myself. I really have. We've enjoyed the fellowship that I've been having. And before I wouldn't do that. If I said I wasn't coming,
She won't come.
I wouldn't come. And I know that it's because I've put myself out there that the enemy is attacking me. Because he won't. I ain't gonna tell him, I won't go back to my cave. But that's because that's my comfort zone, but I can't allow myself to go back in that cave. Because that's the first thing I thought about this morning. Okay, God, here I go again. Shut myself off. I can't do that anymore. I can no longer live in a lie. Basically, I've lived a lie. I've lived in a lie. And I refuse to live my life in a lie.
This is so good. This is something that the Holy Spirit had me look at when I was acting a fool in my home towards my family. And I'm reading this Ephesians 4, and I begin to apply this to my life, towards my children, towards my wife. In Ephesians 4, Amplified Version, starting at the 29th verse, it says, "Let no foul and polluting language, David, neither evil word nor unwholesome or worthless talk ever come out of your mouth, but only which speech as is good and beneficial to the spiritual progress of others, as is fitting to the need and occasion, that it may be a blessing and give grace, God's favor to those who hear it. And do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, David. Do not offend or flex or sadden him, by whom you were sealed, marked, branded, and as God's own secured for the day of redemption, of final deliverance through Christ from evil and the consequences of sin. That all bitterness, indignation, and wrath, passion, rage, bad temper, and resentment, anger, animosity, and quarreling, brawling, clamor, contention, and slander, evil speaking, abusive or blasphemous language be banished from you with all malice, spite, ill will, and baseness of any kind, and become useful and helpful and kind to one another, tender-hearted, compassionate, understanding, loving-hearted, forgiving one another, readily and freely as God in Christ forgave you." And I look back on the times where I wasn't none of those things to my own children, and always spoke negative, not so much in word, but the frowns I used to make. And just a look on my face would upset the whole house for a whole weekend, just by the way I look. And I lived a lie and said, "There's nothing wrong, but I'm looking like the devil. Nothing's wrong." And so I learned to speak edifying things to my daughter, to encourage her. But then I had to go and confront the situation and apologize. But I still had to see her and my wife as God sees them, and to say edifying things to them. So as I learned that, the result of it is my daughter now comes to this church, not because I forced her to, but she wants to come. And it's not just on Sundays, it's on Wednesdays. Because I'm living, and I'm not living a lie. It's them, it's them, it's them. No, it's you, David. You got my spirit, but you living like the devil. I done hung and buried my fleshly man, but I had to go to them and apologize and ask them to forgive me. And that's where it started. This whole thing is about going to one another and asking for forgiveness and being real with each other and asking for forgiveness.
I was sitting with my sister and my niece, and she has a daughter, and her daughter's father was in town. He doesn't live in town, but he was in town, and he called and he said, "Can I see my daughter?" And she was like, "Well, your time is Thanksgiving, and this is my time." And Alexis wanted to go. And I said to my niece, I said, she wants to see her father. I said, you should let her go. She said, they always want to come and take her from me, and they're selfish. But I said, you're a Christian. And when we become a Christian, we give up our right to be right, and we do the right thing. I said, do you want her to grow up thinking that you kept her away from her father? Her father wanted to see her, but you wouldn't let her see her because you're being selfish. And she said, well, no, I'm not selfish, they're selfish. I said, but when she sees it in years from now, she sees that her father wanted to see her, but you didn't want her to see her father because you wanted to spend time. Now, I said, it's coming out to look like you're selfish. And I said, years from now, all she's going to remember is my father wanted to see me, and you didn't let me see him. And I said, let her go see her father. I said, you know, so finally she sat there and she said, she called her back and she said, come and get her. But she stamped out of the room and said, why do I always have to sacrifice? And I said, God started ministering to me because I said, you know, and I can only count for me because, you know, that's how sometimes I feel. And me looking at, okay, when I think I'm sacrificing too much, it makes me become selfish. Because then I pull back. Okay, Lord, because you know the testimony I gave, then God got to talk to me because this is the fight I'm fighting now. But I'm gonna win. Is that okay, Lord? Well, you know, when I wanted to be out there with them, they didn't want me. Now, you know, now I have that fight to now. The flesh says, you know, now you want to be in a relationship with me. Do I want to be in a relationship with you? So I got that fight. Do I want to do what God wants me to do, or do I want to be right with my right? Not right with God, my right. So that's the fight I've been fighting with, you know? Okay, I know I'm supposed to be in a relationship with you, but trust. It's a season of trust. Can I trust you? You know, it's just like putting your hand out, you know, and you put your hand out to, and this is an example of the dog you don't want, it bites your hand. And you're like, well, I ain't going to do that again. You know, I'm putting myself out there. Am I going to do it? But it's a trust. And you know, we have a problem. I have a problem with, okay, God said trust. And I said, God, I trust you, you know. But, no, I don't trust you. Because trusting you hurts. Trusting you hurts.
Say that.
You know, but, you know, and then God said, but Jesus trusted. He got it wrong. How about you, you know? You know better. So the character of a Christian is a Christian that is willing to be hurt and still love. You still love because you know that's what he's fighting with me. Still love, and I'm fighting back. You know, I want to fight. You know, it hurts. You know, sometimes that's a pain I don't want to take. It's not that I can't take it; it's that I don't want to take it. But I'm willing. I'm willing and I'm open to be hurt, to be able to display God's love. That's His love is not the picture perfect on TV. Oh, you do this for me, I do that for you, you know, quid pro quo. It's I do what God would like me to do for you, and if I get no results, I still did what God wanted me to do. And I'm right with you, God. I'm not right with me because my flesh be like, you know, hey, you know, but I'm right with you. So for me, it's a fight of being selfish, or trying to not be hurt. And there's no way that I can be in Christ and not be hurt. It just ain't Christ.
Do you know that sometimes when some people are going through, it's not their intentions to hurt you?
Amen.
I can guarantee you. When Venom was saying some stuff, she was saying doing stuff, some stuff she was doing. Her intent, in her mind, she was thinking, I'm trying to hurt my father. I'm saying this and I'm doing this because I'm really trying to do my father. Sometimes there are just some things that are set in motion to assist us in the development of this thing called agape love. Now the dilemma is, if I take it personally, if I take it to myself, Ray, I need to stay with me. I need you to stay with me. I need you to stay with me. I'm gonna release you. I need you to catch this. Because see, we talk about this agape love, we talk about family, we talk about relationship, and I'm trying to tell you, there are some things that we got to get in this season because the enemy is always looking to tear down family. And see, and so I can't keep taking these things personal that, you know,
my father said this or my mother said this, and then it seems like it's okay for me to act up and act out. There's some things that are just not okay. Even though you're grown. You know what I'm saying? I'm grown, you know. I'm grown. I'm grown. I'm not on my own, but I'm grown. I'm grown, but I'm not on my own. But I'm grown. And see, so but what happens is, check this out. Check this out. Check this out. God is teaching, because God is teaching us how to dwell correctly in the house, so we know how to dwell correctly outside the house. If I disrespect my mother, really what I'm disrespecting is the authority that God has placed in my life. Because my mother, by God, has been placed over me. My father, by God, has been placed over me. Okay, so when I'm not following their God-given instructions, what I'm doing is I'm rejecting. I'm not rejecting them. I'm rejecting the authority that God has established over my life. I'm rejecting God. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And there was nothing that was made without Him. And then when you go to the 14th verse in 1 John, 14th chapter, 1 John, St. John, the first chapter, the 14th, and the Word was and dwelt among us. So when you and I reject the Word, we are rejecting God. And see, so I want to be blessed, but I'm rejecting God. My parents want me to be blessed. See, because I want my daughter to be blessed. So check this out. I'm trying to help her to be in line with the Word. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Well, I used to tell her, you can't do that. But, you know, she kind of, you know, she was grown for me to tell her she can't. So I say now, so I changed to, you shouldn't do that. That's not going to be beneficial. See, that's, but then when she do it, I can't take it like she trying to do me. Because when you feel like someone's trying to do you, you do what? You retract or attack.
That's it.
See, one of those things, something will happen. See, I'm going to step away or I'm going to step into. That's what you do. I mean, that's what some people do. That's not what you holy folk do. That's not what you holy ghost rollers do. But there's some folk that, you know, they step up in that thing. You know, okay, you misunderstand my authority, so I'm going to have to let you feel. That happened. See, because check this out. I can't keep living a lie. See, I lie, but I'm not a liar. So God's trying to help us not to be liars. Because if I keep lying, see, it's different. See, I lie or lie. See, just because you lie, that doesn't make you a liar. But if you keep lying, and you keep lying, and you keep lying, you can't help but be that. I'm okay, you're not okay. You're not okay. You don't love. You don't forgive. Everything's about you. You think everything's about you. When folk are laughing, you think that they're laughing at you. When people are talking and they happen to look your way, you think they're talking about you. What's that? What has happened in your life that has caused you to think that you are it? That everybody's thinking about you. You see what I'm saying? You know, you got folk having their conversation and they just laughing, joking, playing, they happen to look your way. Why are you talking about me? Why are they talking about me? Why are they talking? Mama. There's an insecurity. Check this out. I'm trying to tell you. There's an insecurity. There has been a lie that I have grasped a hold to, that now I'm beginning to live out. You talking about me? You look like you talking about me. Kevin look like he talking about me. Look at him, look at him. Look, I can tell what he's thinking.
I know.
See, I know, see, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, see, look at him. I know. Oh, he think I'm not saying nothing. See, look at his face. Look at his face. Is that him or is that me?
That you.
So there's a lot that's in my heart that's causing me to look at others in such a fashion that's not correct. So now when do I get rid of the lie? What? Now? But I like the lie.
On that thing, expose it.
I'm used to the lie.
When you recognize that it's actually a lie.
But it's not a lie. I can tell you don't like me. I can just tell you. I just know I can see it. It's just all over you. I know you don't like me. And it's okay.
Because it ain't okay. If it was, you would be saying that about
It is the moment I choose to take authority over it in my faith, walk out the truth. Even though my mindset is telling me one thing, I must exalt what I know to be true over what I think or what I feel, because it messes up my perception.
Yeah.
Perception is messed up, then even my perception of God's love towards me is misconstrued. So it's the moment that I choose to believe, regardless of what I feel, regardless of nothing in front of me changes, it remains the same. I must